Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, Scorpios, let's go ahead and jump on in. And Scorpios, I just want you guys to know that I will be moving next week, and the first 3 days of the week are going to be kind of the busiest for my move. So just know I will probably not get back to doing zodiac videos until like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will mostly be like collective messages, just because I'll probably only get a chance to put out one or two messages for the first 3 days. And then once I get moved and kind of more settled in, then we'll be able to get back to some actual zodiac. So just so you guys know, nobody will probably be getting much in the way of zodiacs until the end of next week. Okay. But I'll see you guys for the collectives. So Scorpio, what do we have right now? 3 of Wands, 8 of Swords, 7 of Swords, King of Cups. Okay. Um, this is more like what the future brings in is very much a mixed bag. We have in the upcoming future, we have like possibly some awesome travel for Scorpio. We could have some blue skies. It could be like some dreams that Scorpio is going to like pursue, and that could be wonderful. But they'll still be carrying around some confusion in the back of their mind. No matter how beautiful their days are, I feel like Scorpio is still carrying this confusion about another person that they interacted with, somebody who they feel like lied to them about loving them. Not lied like I don't love Scorpio, but lied about the fact that they really did love Scorpio. Like wanted to pretend that this Scorpio is not the love of their life. And I almost feel like Scorpio's like, the further I get away from this, the more I look back and I go, that person was nuts about me. I know that they loved me. What the hell was wrong with them? It kind of feels like, sometimes it takes a little bit of like removing ourselves, moving on with some things in life, and then looking back and saying, God, that person was so scared of love, but they showed me all the time that they were crazy about me, but they just couldn't, surrender to it. 9 of Pentacles in the reverse. I don't know. That worries me just a smidge, because if Scorpio goes too far down that road, even if they're spot on with that, that could still be something that, it's like, well, then damn, like why am I single, or why are they single if they actually, we want to be together? And it kind of, the only reason I say, yeah, it worries me a little bit is because, is Scorpio then going to say, well, I should go pursue them when, I mean, I think it's great to advocate and, say what we want to say and try to go get what we want in life. But there's also an energy of like making sure that somebody, has to put some effort in to match us or meet us as well. So I'm like, that could be beautiful and empowering if Scorpio goes, you know what? I've been thinking about this in the back of my mind for the last 3 months. That person was nuts about me. I know that they loved me. So why did we miss a really important conversation? Scorpio literally could be somebody who's like, I know that they were lying. I know that they loved me. So I might have to go talk to them again and find out, like, hey, listen, it does feel like it's divine inspiration. If this Scorpio feels like they need to say something to this person, be like, look, I've been thinking about it, and it seems like what you showed me is a lot of really lovely energy. So what happened? Am I off the mark on this? Or was there some reason that you didn't actually tell me how you felt? Are you holding back from this, or should I let this go? It may just be that Scorpio goes ahead and says, look, no more games. If they cared about me, I'm going to spit it out. And then maybe this was like a taboo thing. Maybe it's like, okay, they were my boss. I always felt like we had an undercurrent, but nobody ever acted on it. Now, I've moved into a different department. But gosh, the more I think about this, the more I'm like, I really was attracted to them. And I'm so sure that they were attracted to me. But maybe there's a taboo that they couldn't ask me out because, they were my boss. So maybe I'm going to go and broach the subject, because I don't want to let this go. Okay, as I'm saying all this, yes, we definitely could have also been somebody who like did construction on somebody's house. And it's like, look, I can't ask a client out as much as I'd like to. This could be, it looks like it was work related. So this is a very specific message, but it feels like Scorpio saying, yeah, and you know what? Part of what I loved so much about, working with them was working with them. And I really felt like they liked working with me too. And that's such a great basis for starting any kind of friendship, business, any kind of relationship, something that could turn into romance, is like, wow, we liked each other. I liked working with them. And that's why I found them attractive. Scorpio might be the one who just comes out and says it. But I'm sorry, I'm throwing cards all over. We got a Four of Wands. You know what? I got to hand it to the Scorpio. They are somebody who's like, I am not going to just walk away from what could be the right person for me. If I really think back and I go, I swear that person cared a lot about me, and for whatever reason, work related, taboo, whatever, we're going to never get a chance to be together because unfortunately we met each other on a job site first. No, I like them and I think they really like me. So I'm going to go find out about that. Now, this whole story could be flipped as well. This could be somebody is thinking that way about Scorpio and saying, I know Scorpio was trying their best to like not show that they cared about me, but God, I just know that they were drawn to me just same way I was drawn to them. Look, this feels very authentic. And this storyline is like, at least before totally walking away from any potential, it says, don't have regrets, handle it, politely, professionally, all of that, obviously. But this says this isn't like a situation where these two aren't even speaking anymore. Maybe the project is over. Somebody could live at a distance. This could have been somebody who came, like, let's say Scorpio worked for a big company and this was a trainer who came to town. I'm also weirdly getting like this could have been in like a church related environment where this could be somebody who like came from a different country, like did some kind of pilgrimage or something like that. Like once when I was in Rome, I'm not Catholic, by the way. I'm not anything, but anytime I travel, I always want to like experience an entire culture. So of course, I want to go see the Pope. And on Wednesday, he gives an audience there at St. Peter's, and it was just the most marvelous experience. I had such a nice time. But there were groups of people who'd come, like as a pilgrimage to see the Pope. And it was like a huge party because all the different groups would be introduced and some brought instruments. And, there was like a group from Mexico that played this beautiful music. And it was a wonderful experience. It was really fun. And while I'm still not Catholic, I certainly, respect everybody's beliefs and I want to participate. But I have this image in my mind of somebody who could have like come to but I don't see it as like quite as international as that. I don't know. It feels like somebody could have come into like Scorpio's world with a group or, traveling or, something along those lines. Maybe this was like somebody that was only in their world for a little while. So maybe it was somebody who came to travel to a job site to do like a construction site for Scorpio that was only going to be there for a little while. It doesn't have to be religious related. It doesn't have to be, it does kind of feel work related though. Like characters came together to work on a project and there were emotions that were shared but suppressed because of the situation, because of the power dynamics, because it would have been inappropriate or seemingly would have been inappropriate given the context that they originally met in. But now those dynamics have changed, but they still aren't communicating. And it's like, as some time is passing, it feels like I can't just let that person walk out of my life when not only did I appreciate them, but I enjoyed them. And I feel like there was a heck of a lot more there that we didn't get to explore because at the time that wouldn't have been appropriate. I was their boss, they were my boss, they were, visiting, like I said, pilgrimage, something along those lines. I couldn't have approached them with romance, nor they me at that time. But time has changed. It just feels like now it would be appropriate. Look, I don't think the taboo is that big of a deal on this storyline. They're all adults. They're all, like even if they worked together, it could still be, like go tell the HR manager, look, we'd like to start dating in the event that these two might work together again on some other project. If this is like some big company and some trainer comes to teach a course, it just feels like they could still make this work. This relationship can still happen, especially given the different context. So I see one person or the other reaching out. This whole story could be flipped. It may not be Scorpio going to do the reaching out. It could be them. But let me just see what might be the outcome on this. We have got the Action of Swords sideways. Look, I don't think Scorpio is the only one who's been thinking about this, thinking a lot about suddenly doing something and then saying, no, that's ridiculous. I can't suddenly say, hey, I just happen to be back in the area. Thought I'd swing by and say hi. 5 minute Pentacles. Because if they did that, it would still be the same context. It would still be like, hey, remember me? We worked together. It almost seems like, oh, God, this is so difficult. Could I look? They may be an earth sign. They could be, and again, we have them in boss type energy, but they think about it and then they don't, even though they would love. I just feel like in this storyline, and please remember, these are fictional, about fictional characters, right? This does not tell anybody what they need to do or how their life will go, but rather we see how these characters might choose to behave based off of what pops out. But I said, what's the outcome? And it says, I feel like this person has a ton that they'd like to give to Scorpio. This King of Pentacles would like very, very, very much. They may still want to take it like really slow though, and be like, I guess I almost contacted you a bunch of times. In truth, I feel the exact same way, but I still thought it'd be not quite right if I were to reach out. So maybe we let a little bit more time pass before we start to pursue something, because let an appropriate amount of time pass first. So it's not really related to work, and nobody can say, oh, well, you must have been dating while you work together or something. It just feels like there's this subtlety. It feels like there's this hidden energy where these two are finally going to get a chance to talk about it. But even then, it may still take more time for a relationship to start to develop. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Bye.